But that's the policy. It's not against Hare Krishna. It's just Hare Krishna, everybody else is the same, you know? Because we are all the same. The only problem is that we are carrying a very strong message in our philosophy built in the Shastra. We are not the same. Yes, spiritually, but that you have no idea about. Materially, never. They asked Prabhupada, and when we are going to unite in this world? This was a great idea, you know. It was always a great idea. Prabhupada said, never. Simple answer. It's not the nature of this material world. As long as you think you are this body, you will never unite. Because my body is not your body. Black body, white body, green body, immediately a conflict. So you have to come down from that bodily consciousness. Then we can speak about unification. That's what we are practicing right now here. This is the Hare Krishna movement. That's a real equilibrism. That's really oneness. One in purpose. Not one in nature, but one in purpose. We have the same purpose to serve Krishna. Oh, then we are united. So this is the problem we are facing all the time. So, but it doesn't need to be unnecessarily challenging and arrogant. Krishna doesn't like devotees being arrogant. Proud of their knowledge, which they don't even have, they just carry it. So there's still a difference, you know. You got knowledge, you carry it, but it doesn't mean you have it. It's not your knowledge. Neither you actually assimilate it. It's like food. You get nice food, you carry it, but actually you didn't eat yet. You didn't digest it. But you're already so proud. I have such a big food. Look. Ah, much better as yours. This is what Krishna punishes. In a very gentle way. I can give you a great examples from the history of German Yatra. We went through all this. Wonderful. There was really preaching. I joined this movement in Germany. There was really preaching on the street. In 2 years, this is the government. These devotees. We are taking over. I was full of halwa and I was going, me, the government, my God, and I can't eat so much halwa. You know, what will I be in a government? Will I be the Minister of Finances or Minister of Food or whatever? I don't know. Let's see what they make out of me when they are all in government. Well, never happened, right? Instead of that, devotees became so proud and so abusive in their preaching for a right cause. Just mark one thing. Prabhupada never criticized devotees very much for this. Even when devotees were all locked up in jail, and there was a terrible, you know, propaganda going on. Germans really know how to eliminate somebody. They are professionals. So after the Jews came the Hare Krishnas, basically. It was such a propaganda, you cannot imagine on what a level it was. You know, so basically kill them. You see them? Kill them. Just that close. There was no much human rights and things like this. But I had to go in Germany. Comes close to what Russian devotees had to go in Russia. Okay, I was not locked in psychiatric hospital, I agree, but it was not far away from that. There was a movement propagating that. You know, that all Hare Krishnas, they are mentally troubled people, so we have to help them now. Let them lock in and they go Hare Krishna, and they go, yes, it's okay. Shh. You know, some nice syringe, you know, they put you in some state of, you know, and they go, he's now okay, he's cool, he doesn't chant anymore. This was a really strong propaganda, yeah. So this is what we were facing there. But there was also a purpose to it. Because when in one day all the money was confiscated, everything was upside down, no reputation, finished, you know, everything finished. Then devotees had to really rethink a little bit their policies of preaching. Unfortunately, some concluded that actually the essence of the preaching is wrong. You should preach now differently, very differently. Basically on a line which is defined in a material society, in a healthy body it's a healthy soul. No. That's totally against Prabhupada. When the soul is healthy, then the body will strive eventually. But the body will die anyway. But Prabhupada said, I just heard it today, he said, the matter grows on spirit. It's not the spirit grows on matter. The matter grows only because of the presence of the spirit. When the spirit is gone, the matter is useless. You don't see this floor growing, right? Even in the atom, there is a spiritual thing, but it's such a low, thing. It doesn't. But as a higher consciousness, all then the reproduction starts and action starts. It grows. When you leave this body, it's finished. So it's simple to understand. So, but very easy, people turn it around. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is aituki apratyata. It's not depending on material circumstances. It's self-containing. Depending on Krishna. So we should be careful and socially aware. That's actually this is another aspect of Prabhupada. How wonderfully aware Prabhupada was around, the living entities around him. In different stages of covering. He was dealing them with so wonderfully that devotees were just shocked, Especially when you are young. When you are young, you are really in the black and white category very often. You don't see that somebody is just conditioned by his karma. What can he do? He just, end up in a situation like this. You just think, oh, he's finished. Boom. Kick him on the face. It's easy to think like this. Hey, the young people think they will do it completely different. This old, people, they don't understand one thing. Then they become old people and they do exactly the same thing. So boring, this is repetition. But when you are like, what you can learn from Prabhupada, how aware he was. Like example, another thing I can tell you, somebody advocates, why don't you talk to this person? Why don't you explain to him? Why are you avoiding this person? Well, that's because I can see his consciousness. When Prabhupada did that even to his own disciples. When he knew that disciple is so agitated and so foolish, that when you start to explain him something, he will argue back. He will oppose you, which is, the ultimate offense to a guru. Once you are initiated, it's not supposed to take place. So Prabhupada avoided the disciple. And there's records, Michael Bell is reporting his personal servants even. What a punishment that was. They would rather to be smashed 1,000 times a day by Prabhupada on the head with a stick as having him ignoring you. Ignoring somebody is anyways the most hurting thing you can do. That's unawareness of the presence of the other person, ignoring him, that's the worst. That really hurts. So Prabhupada did that sometimes, just to rectify the disciple, to teach him a lesson, not for long. And as soon as the disciple was so desperate and was in a position of serving and healing, Prabhupada suddenly started again. But just having him to know, you get puffed up again, then withdraw again. It's a heavy training. He was struggling to get the attention of Prabhupada. Can you please look at me? Prabhupada could be completely, you are not there. Oh, this got people going. And in this way, Prabhupada extracted the maximum devotional service out of us. By attention or neglect. In both ways it worked. I was never exposed to that because I was just on the street distributing books. That was the most safe position I could find, and it was very safe. Because I knew Prabhupada once said, I have all his blessings for that, and that was such a safe place to be. But those who were dealing with him personally, directly, very, very delicate. You can see these great devotees who were serving him so personally. What a drama that was. Prabhupada loving me, Prabhupada hating me. You can read in the letters, one of my godbrothers, very powerful devotee who started preaching in Germany, many countries. He's like a, even until today, he's still alive, but he's like a eternal pioneer. He's not so good on maintaining things, but he likes to start them up. I met him in Mayapur. He told me, I'm so bored here because everything is already established here. You know, I like to go somewhere where there is nothing. You know, this is a man, you put him in Venlas on a subway station, he will come back with a new devotee. He will just go shopping and he will just, you know, bring somebody and do something with him. It's like eternal, it's like a regime. He can't live any other way. So there is a letter of Prabhupada writing to him. And it's a one big drama. One letter he writes him, you rascal, how could you close down this temple? You should never close down a temple. What have you done? Very strong-minded personality. You know? You have to be very strong to go into that completely empty preaching field and start something. You have to be very, very strong. Prabhupada could handle it. Nobody else could. Basically, these devotees were only under Prabhupada. When Prabhupada was gone, it was trouble. They couldn't team like up with some, they're just too strong mentality. Very difficult. But what a productivity was there. So Prabhupada could handle it. He could stay on top of such a person and just, but the drama was there. Next letter he writes him, I thank you so much for your preaching, you are doing so wonderfully. You know, it's like bam, 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 you know. Even one of my godbrothers, he wrote a letter to Prabhupada, I'm preaching here all the time, I'm trying to manage. Nobody likes it. That's a classical manager situation. Nobody even says hello, nobody says even pat me on the shoulder and gets great. Nothing. So maybe I shouldn't do it. I should quit. Prabhupada wrote him back a letter. I can see what you are doing. Krishna can see what you are. Krishna sees what you are doing. Is it not good enough for you? Ah, that was encouraging. Prabhupada sees, Krishna sees. Okay, then I go on. You know? One letter like this can keep you going for years. And we all need sometimes such a letter. There's somebody who tells us, you are doing great, and thank you for being here, and, well, things like this. Everybody needs it. It's just some people don't know how to ask for it, and don't know how to express it, and some people do express it. But, you know, in that regard, we are all feminine. Because women have this. Don't you like me? And you have to say, yes, I love you. What will I do without you? And then they go, don't say too much. You know, but they are, the daily doses were supplied. If you don't know it, better you don't get married. I made my mistakes. I know what I'm talking about. I was very sparingly using this kind of exchange. I found it completely stupid and trivial. Of course, if I like somebody, I don't have to tell him every 5 minutes that. That's how a man thinks. Men can be big friends, being silent next to each other for years. But they know, big friend. Whenever there is a need, he's there. You don't have to talk about this much. But women are not like that. They are like, love you, and this the whole time go on. If you don't have this, then you get in trouble.
It's very easy to get in the position of when I try to think back of maybe not like pushing Prabhupada aside, but still unconsciously doing that, because there's so much in the Shastra like of worship Krishna and Krishna this and Krishna
that. Completely correct. But you always remember where it comes from. You wouldn't sit here, Prabhupada wouldn't be on that boat from India to America. You wouldn't see. Nobody would know nothing, one thing. It's a bunch of Vikings and pig eaters. That's all. Nobody is qualified here to generate Krishna consciousness on his own. Obviously. I mean, what was he in Denmark going on, really, you know? There were some spiritual attempts, yes. Denmark was even known for this for a little while. Spiritual communities sprouting up in this. But what's happening anyway? Where are they? What do you see in a shopping street in Copenhagen? Who else is there propagating spiritual life? Or anything in this direction?
I saw some Buddhists in Roskilde today, just walking by, very silent.
Yeah, Buddhist is great. They shouldn't say anything, they shouldn't do anything. This is a religion. This is a joke, you know, on the ISKCON webpage, you know, Dalai Lama gets a Christmas present. It's an empty package, there's nothing inside. He's very happy. I got nothing!
It was very funny because I was talking to this person saying, hello, I'm a monk, and then there was these two guys in red robes walking by, and I'm like, wow. She was really thinking it's
they are
weird.
also monks, they are definitely monks.
Yeah.
And let's be respectful, they follow some principles, hopefully. You know? So that we respect that. Who's doing that otherwise in a society? Who's following any principle? Except, you know, get it as fast as you can.
How to follow the process so in such a way that one becomes ecstatic and still not forget Prabhupada.
Well, you know, it has to grow.
Yeah.
That relationship has to grow.
Like in the way that you become ecstatic, forget, okay, we try again, ecstatic,
Yeah,
forget, we try again.
yeah, but it has to grow. As we grow more and more mature. It's a little bit like, you know, when you are young, what do you know what your parents did for you? What do you know how they did struggle with you? When you have children, you get the full lesson, you know. First you feed it, clean the behind, all the nappies and everything. They cannot walk, they are in danger. You have to be all the time on it. And in a few years they just walk around like, what do I need you for? It's like they are self-manifested. They appear. They're forming their leader. Well, that's what we did to our parents too, you know. You don't know now how much your mother struggles and struggled with you, and you have no access to that. But as you grow older, you may start to recollect, oh, that's what she went through. Because you may find yourself in similar situations and things. Then you start to understand what these people went, what a pain it was to deal with you, and things like that. You know, so that's the privilege of youth. You don't understand one thing. You know. But in a material sense, there's sorts of karma, so it's a fact that the parents also use you to a certain degree. And you know, material world is a world of used ones and being used. You know, it's not that. But in a spiritual sense, it's completely different. We always knew Prabhupada doesn't want thing from me for his personal, anything of this. He is here simply for us. And therefore we should be here simply for him.
So the best way to always remember Prabhupada and what he did for us is to try and do the same. Not like that we go back to India and then preach there, but that we...
No, but follow his instruction.
Yes.
That's the best. So, there's no use of talking about service if you don't follow the instruction.
Yeah.
There's no service. What do you mean you do what you want? That is not service. That's your idea.
So if we do act on his instruction, then we will not forget.
Naturally.
Yeah.
I had the same problem. Never in young baptizer problem. I saw devotees being so excited. I was very attracted to Prabhupada, but not to the degree like the devotees I met when I joined. You got instant the feeling these people are going to die for him. That was the mode. There was no other plan as to die for Prabhupada. Everybody was, Prabhupada ki jai, going into the most difficult situations, happily. So, that I was caught by that spirit. So I also imitated that. I was going, Prabhupada ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. But actually, then it came to a crisis where I asked one of my godbrothers, you are also excited about Prabhupada. I like him. I mean, I just, yes, but I don't feel really that kind of relationship. You have. And that godbrother looked at me and he said, but you follow his instruction, right? I said, yeah, of course. And you will follow his instruction. Yeah, of course. Well, then you love him. Finished. And kind of sunk in, that this is not a relationship to spirit master, something you create emotionally and you end up like, with your girlfriend. Do I really like her or not? Or do I just want to have a sex or not? And I don't know, I don't know if I really, how deep do I like her? I mean, I like the sex part, that's really great, but how do I really love her? She always tells me, I love you, but how much does she love me really? I'm not so sure. It's all mental. It's all a mental, sentimental stuff. Relation to spiritual master is not mental. You follow instruction, and that's what the relationship is. It's a commitment, and then naturally the affection will come. One day you realize, I cannot do anything else outside of this. Especially when you meet people who will try to induce you to act against Prabhupada, you feel suddenly completely estranged, spontaneously. You cannot relate to this. Because you realize, that's my life, I don't have anything else as Prabhupada. So you try to push me to do something which he would be against that. I'm sorry, I cannot do that. It's just like, it's not my life, Okay? Then you realize suddenly how connected you are. And of course there's emotion that comes from this Vyasa Puja Day celebrations. We don't have this so intense nowadays we used to have it. When you have a 20 Prabhupada disciples standing there and they read their offerings to Prabhupada on a Vyasa Puja Day, it's very emotional. It's one of my godbrothers who was known especially for being a very heavy talker and very heavy guy, American. He wrote one really nice offering. It was very short. Dear Srila Prabhupada, I have always known throughout the year that I have so much to say. But on this day, standing in front of you, I have nothing to say. Please accept my most humble obeisances. Bonk. And then he made it up. Because, he was rendered speechless, realizing that you can just serve, that's all. That pays for 1,000 speeches. But that's a relationship, the service. So you're already connected to God. But because we are so infantile, like a child, we take so many things for granted and we walk around, prasadam, and Hare Krishna, but we don't understand really that, what Prabhupada really gave us. And the more you understand that, the more you feel obliged, the more relationship takes place. It takes time. For those who are sincere, it goes faster. For those who are superficial, they may not even get it. Right? And they leave eventually. Because when you really got Prabhupada, as he is, you cannot leave. Even out of weakness you may fall down. It had happened. But that doesn't mean leaving. You are just kind of smacked back, But you crawl back, Prabhupada, I did it. Oh, help, help. Prabhupada the devotees leaving too. But they really didn't leave. They just were so overpowered by weakness, they had to step aside, you could say. It's like on a train, Somebody cannot live in a compartment in a train anymore. So he kind of falls out of the window. And he hangs on the train, And he gets flopped around, and it's raining, snow coming, and this. And after a while of this, he gets kind of smacked in again in the compartment, you know, messed up. And he goes, Prabhupada, I'm here again. And Prabhupada goes, that's all right, just sit down. He was chanting Hare Krishna. It's a little bit like that. That's called falling down out of weakness. Prabhupada always kept the window open, you know. Okay, he fell out, keep the window open, he will flop in again eventually. So he came in, you know, and like, Prabhupada, this was horrible. You know, Prabhupada, yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. Just chant Hare Krishna. But when you flop out of the train, of the Hare Krishna train, and you create your own rails with your own train, painted on it, Hare Kishpa, you know, that's a new movement, the Hare Kishpa movement. It's parallel trail, you know, it goes first parallel and then it goes a little bit like that. Then you have your own train, full of people who go, Hare Krishna, 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 Bhaja, Kicha, Hare Shi, you know, and then they have their own movement. Kali, there are many. And they go, you know, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, we just practice Krishna consciousness in a more updated way. After all, we are in the year 2013, we don't drive on that old, you know, Hare Krishna train. It's an old train. We have a new train. It goes, and by the end of each single rail, constructed on, you know, on concoction and speculation, there's always this piece of wood at the end, you know. That's the dead end. And the train rolls out and stands there and falls apart. That's it. These are quite few trains like this. It looks very good in the beginning. There's a new Krishna consciousness quite far out. It's called, I call it the far out movement, because it's so exciting to make something more and different, something far out. And then after some time, you know, it's no more far out. It's just this excitement is not a measurement for improvement. People get excited for any idiotic thing. It's no problem. Just let it go and see how long it lasts. And if you want to stay kind of being a long-lasting devotee, that's only possible by being supported and nourished constantly by Prabhupada's presence and instructions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.